Ethan Miller walked into his office earlier than usual. Morning light shimmered through the glass walls, mixing with the faint smell of metal and paper. He switched on the desk lamp, set aside a folder of blueprints, and reached for the phone. Yesterday it was over. The board had approved the calculations. The project was saved. Today the official confirmation would come in. But he knew it was already decided. The director had hinted. After this crisis, no one but Miller could have pulled it off. Ethan was 46. He wasn't chasing titles or corner offices, but he understood what the promotion meant: resources, time, and freedom from pointless reports. He opened his laptop, scrolling to the last revisions, financial summaries, and document clearances. A call came through from reception. "Mr. Miller, they're waiting for you in the small conference room." "Everyone's here." He nodded, though no one could see it, turned off the lamp, and picked up his tablet. The hallway smelled of coffee. Colleagues exchanged knowing glances. A few smiled. It was clear enough. The meeting went quickly. He presented his vision, answered a few questions. The deputy tried to interrupt, as usual, but the chairman stopped him. "No need. Everything's clear." Then he stood up, walked over to Ethan, and said, "Congratulations. The order will be signed today. Starting tomorrow, you're in charge of the new complex." Ethan nodded. He didn't smile, not out of pride, just habit. Joy clouded clear thinking. Back in his office, he closed the door and called his wife. "Hey, Olivia." "Ethan, you done already?" "They just confirmed it. Everything's official." "That's wonderful. I'm so proud of you. But I can't really talk right now. I'm with a client." "At the studio?" "No, on site. They're discussing the layout. Some big interior job, kind of Eastern style. Complicated client." "Got it. We'll talk tonight. I might be late. We started late." He paused. In the background, he heard voices, music, the clinking of glasses. Not exactly the sound of a design studio. "All right," he said softly. "Talk later." "Congrats again. You deserve it." He hung up, staring at the darkening screen. After a few seconds, he opened his banking app, not out of suspicion, just habit before making big decisions. A withdrawal from the previous day, $2,000. Description: consultation on interiors. Maybe nothing, but larger than usual. Similar transactions every few weeks. No listed contractor. He remembered Olivia mentioning something. New portfolio photos. Updates for her website. He closed the app. The feeling that crept into his chest wasn't jealousy. More like a miscalculation you can't spot, but know it's somewhere in the numbers. That evening, traffic crawled. City lights flickered beyond the windshield. He kept thinking about her voice, her tone, that lively background. Reason said, "It's nothing." Emotion stayed silent. At home, everything was quiet. The living room dark. A single light glowed in the kitchen. He took off his shoes, hung up his jacket. A note lay on the table. "Don't wait up. I'll be home late." He reached home near midnight. Olivia's car sat at the neighbor's. Inside, half dark, a lamp glowed over his desk. On it, the court folder. On top, a note. "You won, but you lost everything. I hope it's enough." He didn't read the rest. Filed the folder away and turned the key. Morning, notary. Signatures, affidavits, transfers. Every premarital asset ring-fenced. Joint accounts and vehicles carved out. Title changes recorded. Third-party access removed. Then the bank. Final transfer, relocation services. Official, transparent. Mover's address, new lease, another city, another rhythm. Midday Aaron called. "Reed's in the hospital. Heart attack." "I warned you," Ethan said. "You did this." He chose his methods. "And Olivia, she's out of work. Studios closed. Reputation. Reputation is the result of decisions. Silence. Then Aaron quietly. I signed my statement. They questioned me. I told them everything. That's a good start, Ethan said. The rest is on you. Evening, call from Gavin. Nights under restriction. Evidence is enough. 2 more women. Stories match. Sentence? Not immediate, but 8 years minimum. Maybe more. Thank you, Ethan said and hung up. In the kitchen, Emma sat by the window with a cup in her hands. No tears. No talk. Just staring. I'm leaving tomorrow, he said. I know, she answered. The trust documents are with the notary. Access through him if you meet the terms. I'm not asking forgiveness, he added, and I'm not expecting it. She set the cup down. I understand then. I thought it was just helping. Mom said it was fine. You weren't required to believe, he said. You were required to ask. Can you forgive me? No, he said, but I can provide. Those are different things. He left the kitchen without looking back. 9 a.m. departure. The house was handed over. Everything of value had been moved already. The rest left behind. Empty hangars. Old boxes. No memories, only quiet. Suitcase at the door, folder in hand. The house behind him, broken by the people who'd call themselves family. He walked out without locking the door. It wasn't escape. It was dismantling. Later, in a new city, in a new apartment. He poured a glass of water, opened his laptop, and launched a fresh project. An infrastructure map, complex, multi-layered. Exactly what he needed. A week later, Emma wrote, I started classes. The trust works. I realized you weren't getting even. You were protecting. It's still scary. Thank you for not erasing me. He didn't reply. Olivia wrote later, I'm not asking to come back. If you ever want to talk, I'll be there. Not as a wife. Just as the person who ruined everything and finally understands it. He didn't open the attachments. A year passed. Ethan received an award, Engineer of the Year. His speech was short. Just the facts. No sentiment. Colleagues respected him. No one asked personal questions. He had poured concrete around that part of his life. Emma kept studying. GPA above target. She wrote rarely without pretense. He never answered, but he read. Olivia disappeared from view. Working retail in a mall. No clients, no old ambitions. Sam waited for sentencing. Aaron changed his number. Harold Reed died 3 months later. No goodbyes. Ethan started from zero again. Each morning, the same time. Tea, schematics, lines and loads. There was nothing left to fix. Only work to build. Is this revenge? Olivia asked. Ethan tapped a key. On the screen, a still of Olivia and Sam at an ATM. Below it, the printed log of an attempted transfer. Next, a frame from the car cam, their faces close, unguarded. This isn't evidence, Olivia said quickly. It's a private photo. We were just talking. You tried to move money from Emma's education account to a shell Sam used, Ethan said. I confirmed it with documents. Tomorrow, they go to court. Sam stepped forward. You can't use private recordings. I can, Ethan replied. Every camera is on my property. Your problem is simple. You forgot whose house this is. Silence. A knock at the door. Emma, what's going on? Why are you shouting? She stepped in, saw her mother, Sam, her father, the documents. Fear flashed across her face. Emma, step out, Ethan said. No, she whispered. Say it. Say exactly what you think right now. Olivia turned away. Ethan pressed play on another clip, audio from a foyer camera 2 months earlier. Emma's voice. Yeah, I transferred it. Mom said it's for studio rent. It's fine. I'll file the receipt later. Through my account, of course. Dad doesn't know. Emma went white. I didn't know. You knew it was hidden, Ethan said. That's enough. Olivia gripped the back of a chair. You're destroying the family. For what? For protection, he said. You try to tear down everything I built. Now you get consequences. Sam moved closer. You think you've won? Think this ends clean? Ethan stood. No threat in the movement. Only final clarity. You're a fraud. Fake credentials. Shell companies. 3 documented cases of using vulnerable women to siphon funds. One ended badly. All of it is with an investigator. The law scares you, and it's already here. Sam stared, then spun on his heel and left. Olivia stayed, hands limp at her sides. If you file, it's the end. It didn't end today, Ethan said. It started with the first transfer. The first lie. Emma stood frozen. Ethan closed the laptop. Tomorrow I meet the attorneys. You can come, or you can stay inside the machine you built. I'm out. He collected the files, stepped into the hall, turned back only once on the stairs. And you, Emma, think hard. Later it'll be too late to say I didn't know. She didn't answer, lips pressed tight, face pale. Friday, pre-trial. Ethan arrived an hour early. Claire Daniels waited at the entrance, a folder neatly labeled. Miller versus Miller, asset division /fraud/ aiding and abetting. Olivia came later without Sam. Instead, her father, Harold Reed, former judge, square jaw, hard eyes, navy suit, a cane with a silver tip. He walked in first, greeting the clerk like he still owned the room. The courtroom was nearly empty. Parties, counsel, the judge's clerk. Olivia's face was tense, makeup precise, lips taut. She didn't look at Ethan. They began with Claire's motion. Given concealed income, sham transactions, and attempts at unauthorized transfers, we request immediate protective measures and a freeze on all joint assets. The judge, young, close-cropped, no hint of old loyalties, nodded. Exhibits slid into the record. Bank statements, video stills, audio files, expert memos, money flow routes. Olivia tried to object. This is pressure. He's retaliating. He's using private materials. Objection overruled, the judge said. All materials were obtained with proper access. Recordings were made on private property. Harold Reed rose, leaning on his cane. Your Honor, my daughter acted within her authority. No transfer proves intent to misappropriate. And for the record, state your role. The judge cut in. Non-party consultant and father. Reed said stiffly, this court does not consider oral statements from non-representatives. The judge said. Reed sat. Color drained from his face. The cane trembled. Claire stood again. We've also forwarded materials to law enforcement. That exceeds the scope of civil action, the judge said, then paused as a clerk entered with a printout. Noted. However, we've received notice, based on a private complaint. A preliminary criminal review has commenced regarding Samuel Knight for large-scale fraud. Olivia didn't grasp it at first. Then she turned sharply to her father. You knew? Quiet, he hissed. Not now. But the moment had already slipped. Considering the facts, the judge concluded, the motion to freeze all joint assets is granted. Until resolution, no transactions are permitted. Harold rose, wavered. The cane slipped. He clutched the bench and sank back down. The clerk rushed water to him. I need to step out, he muttered, gray-faced. The session recessed. Ethan watched calm. Even the system's failure had become part of the design. In the corridor, Olivia caught up. You got what you wanted. Is it enough? No, he said. You got what you wanted. I restored balance. You can't be reasoned with, she said. You couldn't keep it clean, he answered. Everything else is negotiable. Outside, the air cut cold and sharp. Behind him, footsteps, Reed, supported by aides, moved slowly, each step an effort. In his car, Ethan opened his email. A message from Gavin. Night question. Released under restrictions. Back in the morning. Second victim filed. Statements aligned. He closed the screen, looked ahead. The process had started. Nothing left to prove. Now everything was official. I'm studying, Emma said, her voice trembling. I need that money. The payments will go through, Ethan replied calmly, but only directly to university. And how am I supposed to live? Commute? Buy books? Anything tied to education is covered, he said. The rest depends on results. She turned sharply, left the room, then came back a minute later, eyes bright with tears. You think I was part of this? I think you transferred funds, withdrew cash, sent documents. Yes, I did what Mom asked. I didn't ask questions. That is participation. The door creaked. Olivia stood in the doorway, pale. Are you pressuring her? I'm setting boundaries. She's a child. She's an adult and a link in the chain. Emma left. Olivia stayed. Why are you doing this? She asked. Because you counted on me doing nothing. We made mistakes, Ethan. I made mistakes. But this isn't a crime. Not yet, he said. Give it time. He brushed past her, walked upstairs, opened the safe, pulled out the hard drive, checked the files. Everything synced. The porch camera worked. The car camera, too. He had no doubts now. By next week, everything would align. That night, when the house went silent, he sat in the dark study, watching footage from a neighbor's camera. Olivia stepped through the gate, checked her phone, pretended to fix her hair. 10 seconds later, the same black car, Sam behind the wheel. She got in, kissed him, they drove away. Ethan froze the frame, took screenshots, filed them under final. No emotions, only sequence. Every action logged, every word accounted for. Monday, 10 a.m., he wired $70,000 to the joint account. Label, project expansion. A test. 2 hours later, activity. Login from Olivia's device. Balance request. 7 minutes later, an attempted transfer to AmeriCorp, one of Sam's known shells. Blocked instantly. System override held. Ethan noted the time. Took screenshots. Then waited. 40 minutes later, a message from Olivia. Bank's acting up. Transfer didn't go through. I'll have to go there myself. He opened the tablet. Car cam feed. Black Kia pulling up at the bank. Sam in the driver's seat. Olivia got out, looked back, said something, went inside. He watched the full sequence. ATM, consultant desk, private office. Unsuccessful. They left. Route traced, residential block, then her studio. That afternoon, he filed an anonymous report through an intermediary. Suspicion of fraudulent financial operations involving S. Knight and related entities. 2 days later, a response arrived. Transferred to the Department of Financial Oversight. No official notice yet, but the review had begun. He met with Claire Daniels again. Ready to file? She asked. Yes, Ethan said. And I want to add a motion to freeze all shared assets. You have grounds. He slid a flash drive across the desk. Full chain of unauthorized access attempts. Logins, recordings, routes. This isn't just a divorce. It's a coordinated asset capture using third parties. She skimmed the files. You'll have to include your daughter. The court will. Then let them. I have enough data to prove consent, even passive. He signed the papers, then stopped by the notary, filed notice of withdrawal from all joint property. The house, the lake cabin, the car, everything prepped weeks in advance. That evening, 2 pairs of shoes stood in the hallway, Olivia's and Valerie Carver's. Ethan walked into the kitchen. They sat with teacups, faces polite. "Good evening, Mr. Miller," Valerie said. Forced smile. "Evening. Olivia was saying you've been busy. Work, finances, family, all at once." Olivia glanced at him. "We were discussing a workshop idea," she said quickly. "Valerie's offering her venue. Will it fit Sam's schedule?" Ethan asked evenly. Silence. Valerie stood up, left without another word. Olivia gathered the cups quietly. Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. Ethan was first in the bank. Requested access logs and attempted transfers. Printed confirmations. IP trace to Olivia's device. Block transaction to Amera. He brought them straight to Claire. "This is enough," she said. "We filed today, and a freeze takes effect immediately." That evening he didn't speak. Just went to his office, closed the door, and played the latest recording from Gavin. Sam's voice, angry and patient. He shut everything down. "We need another route. The funds were right there. He can't control everything." Click. Ethan stopped the playback, checked the call log. The last number, Aaron. He called. "Did you talk to him?" Ethan asked. I didn't know it went this far," Aaron stammered. "He said you two just needed space." "We're past that. If you contact him again, you'll be listed as a participant." "Ethan, you can't." "I don't think, Aaron. I count. Everything that isn't documented doesn't exist. Remember that." He hung up. He stepped onto the balcony. Darkness below. Through the trees, the Carver's house. Their kitchen light went out. Everything was moving toward the inevitable. He went back inside, gathered the final dossier. Audio, video, transcripts, prints. Tomorrow, the official phase would begin. Everything else had already happened. That night, Olivia and Sam burst into the house together. Like on cue. No greetings, no hesitation. Olivia's voice was sharp. "What the hell did you do? Why are the accounts frozen? Why won't the notary release the documents?" "You know why," Ethan said evenly. "I gave the system a signal. It responded." Sam stepped closer, voice low and hostile. "You think you can control everything? You're violating our rights. We have legal claim to joint property." Ethan looked at him calmly. "You included yourself in her claim. That makes it official." Olivia flinched, half reaching toward the papers on his desk. "You left me no choice," she said quietly. "I asked you not to push it. We could have handled it peacefully." "You tried." Ethan said, "Behind my back, with third parties, through my daughter, and with lies dressed up as business." He leaned forward, voice steady. "All I did was give a legal form." Ethan laid the folder on the desk. "I don't like too many words," he said quietly. "Everything you need is here." The attorney, Claire Daniels, flipped through the files. Her eyes didn't widen. She'd seen this kind of client before. The ones who came not for help, but for precision. "You want a file?" she asked. "I want to extract what's mine," he replied. Quietly, but with consequences. "My daughter stays untouched. The trust is already active. She knows." Claire nodded slowly. "Her father, former judge, correct? Harold Reed?" Ethan nodded. "He's involved." Consulted her. She leaned back. "First, we secure a financial freeze. Then we challenge her access to joint assets. You'll need at least 2 hearings." He left her the flash drive and the folder. On his way out, he stopped by the window, glass towers, a parking lot, people walking straight lines. Everything seemed simple. Only he knew how much effort it took to keep one system from collapsing all at once. Scene: the charity gala. He didn't write ahead, just appeared. It was the perfect setting. Harold Reed attended every year, speaking under chandeliers about justice and integrity. When Ethan approached, the old man raised an eyebrow. "Ethan," he said with polite surprise, "I hope this isn't about family business." "It is," Ethan said calmly, "just a personal matter." They stepped aside into an empty hallway. "You filed for divorce?" Reed asked. "Not yet. Preparation phase. I want it done quietly, cleanly." "That's wise." "Then maybe you'll clarify something for me," Ethan said. "Which assets did you advise her to transfer?" A pause. Reed blinked slowly. "That's not my style. I offered general guidance, nothing specific." "Then you won't mind," Ethan said, "if my attorneys include the recording of you discussing falsified expenses and your suggestion that the judge can be asked to be lenient." Reed froze, color draining from his face. "That's unacceptable. I'm retired, but I still have influence." "I know," Ethan said evenly. "It's in your tone, especially when you said, 'Some judges still listen when I call.'" Reed straightened. "Are you threatening me?" "No," Ethan replied. "A threat removes choice. I'm giving you one." He turned and left without waiting for an answer. That evening, he came home as if nothing had happened. "Where were you?" Olivia asked. "Out of town," he said. "You disappeared. We were worried." "No." Emma stepped out of her room. "Dad, is everything okay?" "For now," he said. "The rest isn't up to me." Olivia watched him, searching for a trace of emotion. There was none. Later, in his study, Ethan opened a second laptop and started to sync. Claire's preliminary report came through. Block 1, asset protection measures. Block 2, counterclaim filing. Block 3, motion for financial forensics. He closed the lid and wrote on a small notepad, "Control restored. Emotion disabled." He woke at 5 a.m., sat on the edge of the bed. Olivia slept with her back turned, her breathing calm, posture perfect. Everything appeared peaceful, but it was only surface. He showered, made coffee, opened the tablet. The documents, the statements, the contracts, all aligned. Next came the daughter's account, the final node. He didn't see her as part of the plot, but her involvement, however small, needed clarity. He reviewed every transaction, deposits, transfers, withdrawals. Then one caught his eye. A $1,500 payment from her account to Orbis Logistics, labeled delivery fee. Same day, a cash withdrawal from an ATM in another district. He zoomed in on the security photo. Sam Knight. He put the tablet down. By noon, he was at the notary's office. The educational trust papers were ready. He signed them, methodical, unreadable. The clerk confirmed. Access requires proof of enrollment and minimum GPA. Funds go only to certified institutions. Keep this notice. It'll be crucial if there's ever a dispute. "I don't plan to dispute," Ethan said. That evening, Emma came to him. Her voice was tight, trembling with urgency. "Mom said you locked everything," she said. "Why?" "That's my account." He looked at her calmly. "Because, sweetheart," he said softly, "you're the only part one still want to protect." Ethan had everything cataloged, names, dates, numbers, faces. The structure was complete. That evening, he noticed Emma scrolling through her phone at the table. "What are you looking at?" he asked. "Exam schedule," she replied. "They changed one of our professors." "Who suggested that?" "Oh," Sam sent us a link. "It's psych stuff. He knows about that." He just watched her for a moment. No anger, No fear. Just cold, focused clarity. The doubt was gone. Only the work remained. Late that night, Ethan called his brother. You home tomorrow? Afternoon, yeah. Why? I'll stop by. The next morning, he arrived with a folder under his arm. He spread the pages across Aaron's desk, payment trails, names, company IDs, printed forms. Look here, he said evenly. These are the contractors. These are the transaction codes. And that, he tapped the bottom line, is your signature. Aaron paled. Wait, I thought this was just set-up paperwork. The money, Aaron, isn't yours. It isn't hers either. It's mine, and it was laundered through you. I didn't know, Ethan. You never asked. That's worse. He gathered the papers, stood up. If you move another cent through your name, there'll be official consequences. Aaron didn't answer. When Ethan returned home, he saw Valerie Carver leaving their house, fast, head down. He froze. She noticed him, slowed her pace. Good afternoon, Mr. Miller. Good afternoon. Olivia's got a new idea, she said, eyes darting away. Something Eastern. She's really inspired lately. It happens. She passed without meeting his eyes. That evening, Olivia came home, calm, composed, like nothing had happened. Dinner, a few questions, then the shower, lotion, her phone, all the same movements, the same rhythm. But for Ethan, everything had already crystallized. The pattern was perfect. Every person, a part of the mechanism. Now came the dismantling. He chose Tuesday. That morning, he told her, the meeting might run late. She nodded without looking up. Then I'll stop by Valerie's, she added. We have this new idea for her living room. Of course, he replied calmly. By noon, his car was parked at the far end of the block, hidden from view. He circled around, opened the back door with a spare key, moved, quietly, every step calculated. Inside, silence. The faint hum of a washing machine from the laundry room. He climbed the stairs, each step slow, deliberate. At the landing, he stopped, listened. Voices. A man's laughter, then a woman's. You've been smiling more lately. You know what that does to me. He took out his phone, hit record, and slowly pushed the bedroom door open. The light flooded in. Curtains wide. Olivia sat on the bed, bare shoulders, silk slip, back against the headboard. Beside her, Sam Knight. He was saying something soft, tracing his hand along her leg. She saw Ethan first. Her gasp cut through the air. She pulled the blanket up, eyes wide. Knight jumped up, grabbing his clothes. What the hell are you doing here? He shouted. Ethan didn't move, just kept recording. Turn that off. Olivia hissed. Ethan, please, stop. He lowered the phone, slipped it into his pocket. Calm down, he said quietly. You pick men like you pick decor. Image, tone, illusion. Everything that's easy to replace. Knight threw his shirt on, stepped closer. You think this ruins us? You've got nothing. No proof. It's just a lover's argument. Same script, Ethan said. You even recycle your lines. Olivia sat trembling. The blanket pulled to her chin. Ethan, I didn't mean for this to happen. Yes, you did, he said. Every late meeting, every missing payment, every client. You planned this. I just waited to see how far you'd go. Knight took another step forward. Leave, or I'll call the police. Do it, Ethan said evenly. Explain who you are. Explain why your license is fake. Explain the bankruptcies and the missing money. Knight froze just for a moment, his confidence cracking. You're bluffing. Ethan's tone stayed flat. I'm an engineer. I document, I test, and I build systems. You just became part of one. He turned, walked out, closed the door quietly behind him. No slamming, no shouting, only the slow rhythm of steps down the stairs. He got in his car, drove for 40 minutes to a motel on the edge of town, paid cash, 3 nights, left his phone on the nightstand, sat on the bed. The room was silent. He felt only weight, steady, familiar. No rage, no grief. Those had burned out long ago. Only understanding remained. Everything they'd built stood on sand. He closed his eyes. The next phase would be simple, just another project. 3 days passed. No calls answered. No explanations given. Messages stacked up, first from Olivia, short, panicked. Then longer, pleading. Then from Emma, confused, careful. Then from Aaron, we need to talk. He read none of them. He moved to another motel, set up a laptop, printer, backup drive, began assembling everything. Transactions, screenshots, photos, reports, every thread. Each morning he structured it like a blueprint. Nodes, transitions, stress points. Every name labeled, every file numbered. He wasn't chasing justice anymore. He was documenting the collapse. On the 4th day, he met with the attorney. Small office, 5th floor, no signage. Just a single brass plate, Daniels and Associates. The woman behind the desk looked calm, sharp glasses, precise movements. She said quietly, "Let's begin." "Sam sent me a link to this course," Olivia said. "It's about stress and awareness." I signed up. Ethan looked up from his plate. "You're serious?" "Why not?" She smiled faintly. "He explains things so simply, not like everyone else." She added, "He just understands people, not like you with your formulas." Ethan said nothing. He stood, cleared his plate, and left the kitchen. That night, he didn't sleep. He lay in the dark, tracing the timeline in his mind. Spring, Sam appeared. Summer, the payments started running through Aaron. Fall, Olivia became busy. And now Emma talked about him constantly. The line was straight. Only proof was missing. He got up, went to his office, opened his laptop. A new message, timestamp 2:47 a.m. From Gavin. Subject line, "Already getting interesting." The body. You'll want to see this. Ethan closed the lid. The silence in the house felt surgical. Everything functioned. Everything slept. And yet everything was heading toward a break. The full report arrived in the morning, just as he was leaving for work. Gavin didn't waste words. Subject, night, week 1. Attachment, zip archive. Ethan sat back down, opened the file. Samuel Knight, 45, registered as self-employed consultant in a rented office space. Activity, psychological counseling event organization. No record of an accredited degree. Certificates, printed templates, no validation. Criminal record, suspended sentence for fraud, 1990s. Disappeared for several years. Reemerged under a new name. 3 women mentioned in previous cases. Each listed as his business partner. Each divorced, broke, or bankrupt. Funds traced through an offshore chain of 3 shell companies. One name stood out, LaRue's, the same one Ethan had seen in Olivia's bank statements. Then came the photos. Knight in a designer tracksuit, holding a shopping bag from a luxury car dealership. Then with Olivia, outdoor cafe, parking lot, apartment steps. Different days. Always just close enough. Never touching, but never professional. He closed the laptop slowly. It all fit. Now, he had to know how deep it went, and whether Emma or even Aaron were part of it. He went straight to the bank. The advisor recognized him immediately and ushered him into a private room. I'd like a full breakdown of outgoing transactions over the last 4 months, he said, especially anything marked as education-related. The woman exchanged a quick look with her colleague. You mean the education fund under your daughter's name? Including that. 10 minutes later, he had the printout. 6 transfers. 3 from the joint account to Emma's, followed immediately by payments to third parties labeled administrative services, delivery, organizational fees. One went to a name connected to LaRue's, the rest to individuals with no clear link. He didn't react, just asked for copies. Would you like us to print a deposit agreement under your daughter's name? No, I'm closing that account. I'll be setting up a trust, no third-party access, and no spousal co-signature. She nodded, quietly impressed. Within the hour, it was done. New account, restricted terms. Funds locked for education, expenses only. Leaving the bank, Ethan remembered something. Back in spring, Emma had asked for money for prep courses. He hadn't asked what kind. She was persuasive, precise, like her mother. That evening, he waited until the house emptied, then opened Olivia's desk drawer. Inside, project files, client contracts, a few business cards, and one unmarked flash drive. He plugged it in. Photos of interiors, invoices, presentations. Among them, a file labeled Concept of Inner Space Transformation by S. Knight. Total, $18,000. Recipient, LaRue's. He copied everything. That night at dinner, Olivia mentioned casually, we'll have to delay the next tuition payment a bit. Cash flow's tight at the studio. What do you mean, tight? Ethan asked. 2 clients delayed their transfers. Nothing serious. We'll cover in a couple of weeks. You were planning to take it from the education account? She sighed. What else can I do? It's temporary. He looked at her. I already moved it. Different setup now. Access only through a notary. Olivia froze for a moment. You could have at least discussed it with me. I'm discussing it now. After dinner, she locked herself in the bathroom. Emma went to her room, door shut loud. Ethan stayed in the kitchen, staring out the window. The streetlight cast a pale reflection, his own face. Calm, unreadable. The next morning, he woke before dawn. He didn't bother with breakfast. Just poured strong black tea, sat by the window, and began mapping everything out. At the center, Olivia. From her, lines spread outward. Sam, Aaron, Emma, studio, LaRue's. Then he added another block, the neighbors, the Carvers. Valerie Carver was talkative. She liked calling Olivia at night. Her husband, quiet, kept to himself. Ethan had noticed their son often leaving the house at the same time Olivia did, once even right before her client session. He remembered something else. Last week, he'd come home an hour early. Valerie had been outside smoking. Oh, I thought you were working late, she'd said. Olivia told me you'd be out all evening. He hadn't thought much of it then. Now, he wrote her name on the diagram. That evening, when Olivia said she had another meeting, Ethan stayed home, hidden in the darkened living room. 20 minutes later, a car pulled up, not a taxi. Sam Knight behind the wheel. He waited at the gate. Valerie stepped out, opened it for him. 3 minutes later, Olivia emerged, dressed in a sport jacket, bag over her shoulder. She kissed Valerie on the cheek. Valerie waved and went back inside. Olivia got into the car. They drove off. Ethan walked back to his study, opened a small box from the closet, an old security camera set from a home renovation project. He mounted one under the roof awning, aimed at the Carver's gate, another one in his car trunk, recording constantly. 2 days later, night returned. The camera caught everything. The gate, Valerie, Olivia, the same timing, the same choreography. He compiled the footage, sent it to Gavin. Within 24 hours, a new report arrived. LaRue's LLC, registered to a former employee of Olivia's studio, now unemployed. Address matches Aaron's old office. Transactions routed through that shell, then dispersed accounts belonging to third parties. Ethan read it twice. No emotion, no surprise. Just confirmation. The structure was complete. And now it was time to break it. Sam can't make it today. He's got some event. Ethan gave a faint nod. He's around a lot, he said casually. What's that supposed to mean? Just an observation. Olivia glanced at him over a coffee cup, then quickly turned back to her phone. The silence that followed felt thin, stretched tight. After breakfast, Ethan didn't go to the research center. He drove downtown instead to a small private investigation firm. A modest sign, frosted glass door, neutral gray interior. Behind the desk sat a man in his 40s, short hair, dark turtleneck, no name tag. Just Gavin. Ethan handed him a printed folder. Website address. A photo of Sam bank statements. I need facts, he said. No guesses. Who he is, where he's been, what he's hiding. You've got a week. Gavin studied the papers. You suspect your wife? I don't suspect, Ethan replied evenly. I want to know. The investigator flipped through the documents, paused at the photo. This man's come up before. Ethan looked up. Meaning? Usually, Gavin said, it means you're not the first. They discussed the method of contact. Ethan paid in cash. When he stepped back out into the street, the air felt sharper, cleaner. For the first time in months, he felt in control, maybe not for long, but long enough. That afternoon, he stopped by his brother's apartment. Aaron worked from home. Laptop open, coffee cup scattered, half the table buried under ad layouts. Hey, man, Aaron said, surprised. You just dropped from the sky. I was going to ask you. Not now, Ethan interrupted. Aaron frowned. What's going on? You had some project with Olivia, didn't you? Aaron hesitated, adjusted his glasses. Yeah, kind of. She asked me to help set up a client platform, online catalog, payment gateway. I gave her contacts, handled the hosting. It's under my name. The money went through you? Yeah, officially. Maybe $2,000 total. She said it was her own money. And you believe that? Aaron shrugged. She's an adult, man. I didn't ask questions. Ethan stood. If anyone asks about it, don't be surprised. He didn't explain. Back home, he pulled an old box from the closet. Family documents, old contracts, notarized files, deposit slips. Inside one folder he found it. A paper with Olivia's signature. Authorization for full control of joint accounts. She'd smile when she asked him to sign it. It'll just make things easier. He hadn't thought twice. Now he did. That night, they sat at the table again. Emma talked about her physiology course. Excited, full of life. Olivia nodded absently, scrolling through her phone. Then Emma said, Oh, by the way, Sam can't make it today. He's got an event, Olivia said, glancing at her phone. Ethan barely nodded. He's around a lot, he said quietly. What do you mean? Just an observation. She looked at him over a coffee cup, then turned her eyes back to the screen. The moment passed, but something invisible shifted. After breakfast, Ethan didn't drive to the research center. Instead, he headed downtown to a small office tucked between a dental clinic and a photo studio. A frosted glass door, discreet sign, private investigations by appointment only. Inside, the place was minimal. Neutral colors, a single desk, a man in his 50s, close-cropped hair, black turtleneck. Nameplate simply read, Gavin, Ethan placed a printed folder on the table. Screenshots, a photo of Sam, transaction records. I need facts. No speculation. Who he is, what he's doing, where he's been. 1 week. Gavin raised an eyebrow. You suspect your wife? I don't suspect, Ethan replied evenly. I need to know. The investigator flipped through the pages, studied the photo. This guy's shown up in a few other cases. What does that mean? Usually, Gavin said, it means you're not the first. They discussed communication protocols. Ethan paid in cash. When he walked out, a strange calm settled over him. Control, fragile, temporary, but it was back. That afternoon, he stopped by his brother's apartment. Aaron worked from home, laptop open, cups scattered around, piles of design mock-ups everywhere. Man, you're a sight, Aaron laughed. I was just going to call you. Need a hand with something. Ethan cut him off. I'm not here for that. Then what's up? You worked on something with Olivia, didn't you? Aaron hesitated, adjusted his glasses. Yeah, sort of. She asked me to help launch a client platform, portfolio, payment system, that kind of thing. I handled the hosting, ran it under my account. The money went through you? Yeah, all clean, maybe $2,000 total. She said it was from her own funds. And you believe that? Aaron shrugged. I didn't dig. She's an adult. Ethan stood up. If someone contacts you about it, don't act surprised. He didn't explain. Back home, he opened an old box from the closet, family papers, old deeds, insurance files. He sifted through until he found a document with her signature. Authorization for full financial management of joint accounts. He'd signed it years ago because she'd said, it'll be simpler this way. Now he regretted it. That evening, the three of them sat at the dinner table again. Emma was talking about her physiology course, animated, gesturing with her fork. Olivia smiled absently, scrolling through her phone. Then Emma said, Oh, by the way. Ethan woke before the alarm, lying still, eyes open, listening to the silence that now sounded like decision. He got up, made breakfast. When Olivia came down, makeup done, phone in hand, she asked, Something urgent today? Not exactly, he said. A work thing. Might run long. Oh, okay. Then I'll pick up Emma from the center. He smiled faintly. Sure, you do that. A single plate sat in the sink, a few leaves of salad, traces of dressing. The air smelled faintly of perfume. Not Olivia's usual one. Something heavier, expensive, unfamiliar. In the bedroom, Ethan noticed a different purse on the nightstand, not the one she usually took to client meetings. The clasp was torn, as if someone had been in a hurry. He walked his office, opened the drawer, took out a bottle of pills. The headaches had been getting worse. A dull, pressing pain without a clear cause. He swallowed one, sat down at his desk, opened his laptop. Documents, reports, emails, routine, but the words blurred on the screen. He remembered her talking about someone new. Sam, the instructor. He runs workshops. At the time it sounded harmless. Stress management was part of her field. He hadn't even caught the last name. Ethan started sorting papers. Logic was the only thing that still worked. When everything else cracked, structure kept him grounded. The rustle of paper calmed him, pushed away the noise in his head. Still, there was that feeling, like someone had crossed a line he couldn't yet see. At midnight, the house was silent, but the silence felt different. Not absence of sound, but a quiet accumulating weight. The next morning, Olivia came downstairs in her robe, cheerful, humming to herself. She turned on the coffee machine and said casually, You got that meeting at 9, right? 9:15, he corrected, slicing bread. Will you make it? I'm heading to the Green District after. Remember the new client? He nodded. She talked more lately. Fast, distracted, words spilling out with little meaning. Then she propped her phone by the window and started taking pictures of her coffee cup against the white curtains. "For my portfolio," she said. Ethan said nothing. After breakfast, she left quickly, checking her messages on the way out. He noticed she'd taken the other bag, the expensive one, reserved for special occasions. He finished his meal alone, then went to the cabinet with old folders, invoices, tax forms, archive statements. Among them he found receipts for website hosting, printouts from the bank, and a glossy brochure, Body and Space Alignment, workshops by Dr. Samuel Knight. Smiling man in his 40s, white shirt, no tie. Phone number, website, list of seminars. Ethan put the brochure back. At work, he ran the morning meeting, signed the papers, but his mind kept drifting to the perfume, the voices behind her call, the new client she couldn't describe clearly. Everything looked ordinary, and that, more than anything, was a warning. At lunch, he called his daughter. "Hey, Emma, how's the semester?" "Fine. 5 finals down, 1 to go." "Where are you now?" "Library. Sam's picking me up later, then driving me home." He froze. "Sam who?" "Oh, Mom's friend. She said he helps out sometimes when she's busy." He didn't ask more. Something crawled under his skin. Not rage, not fear, just a slow, methodical irritation, like a bug moving under glass. That evening, he went upstairs to her room. Emma was at her laptop, headphones on. "Emma, who is this Sam exactly?" "He's like a coach, I guess. Works with Mom. They do something for her clients together. He's cool. Brought Thai food once." "Did Mom ask you not to tell me about him?" "No." "Why? Is something wrong?" Ethan watched her. She wasn't lying. She just didn't see what was happening. "Just curious," he said. "You know me, I check everything." She smirked. "Yeah, our personal auditor." He smiled faintly. "Exactly." She went back to studying. He went downstairs, opened his laptop, logged into the bank. 3 months of recurring payments. Architectural consulting, project coordination, service retainer. Large sums. Same account. Same vague notes. Recipient, a private LLC. No such charges before spring. Then a pattern. Then escalation. At 9 p.m., Olivia came home. Cheerful, flushed. "Sorry, clients ran late. These people have no sense of time, but they paid well." He nodded. "What's the project?" "A young couple. He owns a clinic. She has a boutique chain. They want a clean, minimalistic office. Sam helped with zoning. He's great at it." The name slipped out casually, almost rehearsed. Ethan rinsed his cup. "How long have you been working with him?" "Since spring. He's got this holistic thing. Helps not just with space, but with energy. People feel freer after." He didn't reply. The conversation ended by itself. She went to shower. He stood in the kitchen, empty cup in hand, feeling like someone had swapped his life for a stage set. Later, she fell asleep instantly, back turned, breathing even. The scent of perfume lingered in the air. Everything looked the same, and nothing was.